and welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your host, Christina. We are back to discuss episode 9 of Southland season 3, Failure Drill, written by quite a few people. Story, Jonathan Lisco and Chitra Elizabeth Sampath, who also wrote the teleplay, so it's only 2 people. Directed by J. Michael Miro. I actually really like this episode. Going into, as far as a penultimate into the finale, it had action. I wasn't expecting that. And it focused a lot on Lydia and even her personal life. So that was, of course, enjoyable for me. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, before we jump into the review, Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, do me a favor, go down to the rating section, drop some stars, leave a review. My social media will be there as well. So you can participate in any type of polls or any information about when I'm recording, since I do not have a schedule currently. You can also send feedback for Southland and any other show that I do at blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. So failure drill, it turns out, is a police term to take down a suspect, which is to hit the body parts. But if they don't go down, then you need to do the headshot. I would love to see this actually practiced in real life, because it seems like most people just go for the headshot, don't even try to do the body shot, or they put a whole clip into the body, which I'm not a police officer. I'm not going to pretend I know every scenario in which, because I can totally see if someone's up on PCP and they ain't going down because they're super strong. You might need to use something depending on what's happening, but I do feel my only response is, I'm not saying lethal force shouldn't be used. I'm saying we could definitely, in this day and age, do with a little bit of reconnaissance on when lethal force should be used. Let's go to the Ben and John story first, because not a whole lot is going on. You know, he wakes up, he's in the shower, he's just got the hot water going. He is fucked up, and he decided to cut cold turkey his painkillers, and unfortunately that's not the way to go. Like, he wants to be better, but he's just in this ridiculous amount of pain. And I know that Shia is probably over watching John go through this, but I also I guess maybe I understand to a certain extent, right? I had the same issue with my shoulder, where it's just hurting and hurting and hurting. I ain't been that bad though, because I think if I would have been that bad, I would have went ahead and went to the doctor. But John's a different person than me, but I do think he's close. I think he's very close. He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to make the right decisions. He knows he needs to get off the pills, but it's just that pride before the fall. But Ben is definitely getting him there. He ends up meeting with his dealer. He gives him a shit ton of pills. Like, what did you do with the ones I gave you last week? Well, I flushed them down the toilet because I wanted to quit. But unfortunately, now I'm suffering for it. I'm also going through withdrawal. So he gets that bag and takes 3 instead of the recommend. Maybe he took 4. I don't know. He took way more than he should have, which causes him to show up late to roll call. His boss kind of asks, "What's going on with you, man? You all right?"
And you need to mind your damn business, bitch!
Especially since, you know, he chose to take the safety, something he would not volunteer to do. Clearly, even his boss thought it was a joke. Like, you're not going to teach kids about car seat safety. But he's fucked up, and he's sleeping in the car all day. He isn't backing his partner as he should. His partner has to yell at him to come out of his coma of sleeping. He has a situation where he has to do the car seat training by himself. He's like, the shit's in the car. He's like, fine, I'll do it. Can't be that hard. He fails terribly trying to figure it out. And it is kind of like wooing around with your dad. Like, you don't want to test your dad's authority, but at the same time, Dad, you're fucking up right now. An old man in traffic is almost hitting pedestrians as well as almost hitting other vehicles and cannot hear when the police is asking him to slow down. John's not there to cover. There's a chase where he tries to get him. He's just walking up like, guy, slow down. John gets annoyed and he goes out and he ends up breaking the guy's window with a nightstick and then taking the keys. And while I'm not about John's actions this episode, I can't blame him for breaking the... if I'm yelling at you with a microphone and you still can't hear me, no, at that, and I'm knocking on your window and you still can't understand, yeah, no, I'm not mad that he broke the window and took that man's keys out of his hand, because that needed to happen. The issue is that he's not in the right mindset and he just did it more out of anger than he did out of being in control of the situation. They end up taking the old man to the hospital. Junior is not happy. Ben decides to tell him, because he goes by him and then he's just like, he's gonna be all right. And he's like, freaking old people, they should test every year, which I agree. I totally agree. So his message was right. It's just everything around his message was wrong. And thus they have a conversation finally off record. And unlike the previous conversations where he's just like, get the fuck out of my face, John does at least come clean as Ben confronts him. He's angry. He's concerned. It's not even just that he's angry. He's concerned. Like, this is interfering with your job performance, and I've not seen that come out of you yet. Nothing seems to be more important to you than the job. And today you're taking burglary calls. You're taking, anything that keeps us not on the road doing our job. And I'm a gung-ho just like you. So, of course, I want to go where the action is. I want to feel like I'm doing something. And he does admit, my back, I woke up, it was really bad this morning. And he's like, look, if your back hurts, call in sick. Don't fucking come into work and then not do your job. And he finally says, are we back on the record? Just get in the car because I'm hungry and I want to get something to eat. And at the end of the episode, you have this moment where he's like, do you really not want to talk about it? Because you have sunglasses on and it's nighttime. I don't even think it's nighttime. I know you're fucked up. I know you've taken these pills. I'm trying to do what you taught me to do, which is if you see your partner drowning, you don't just let him drown. You try to do it yourself, and then if that doesn't work, you go to where you need to go. And I think that he's just doing exactly what he's been taught. I even liked with show up, do up, show up. That's what you told me. Who told me that? Let me bring your words back to you. And that's all it is. It's John is at a crisis point right now. He has been the rock for everyone else in their crisis point, and now he needs someone to be that for him. I know it's annoying because it has been going on for quite a while. I know I'm just addressing Shy's complaint, but I do think that with him taking off those glasses, the way he even looked at him, he knows that I am at the point right here. I'm at the point right here where I'm going to have to make a decision, but I can't shit or get off the pot. I'm stuck. It's going to take someone pushing. Some people are like that. They got to be pushed and dragged to the right place. But this was probably the worst showing we've seen from Ben and his John and his back problem. There was a funny scene though when they went to the burglary. This is why he doesn't like burglaries, because they get there because she's like, yeah, so I was asleep and I felt like a cop was here. You just felt like a cop was here, ma'am. Yeah, I felt like a cop was here. Okay, what did he steal? My uterus.
Hey, bro. What? Oh, my God!
I laughed so freaking loud. I forgot about it. I don't remember this. So she said it so serious. He stole my uterus. Like, what? What the fuck? We John's like, oh, we got a 187 in progress. We got to go. He's like, yeah, ma'am, I'll let you know about your uteruses. He's like, we're going to keep going back. We're going to have fallopian tubes. But apparently IA is cracking down. I don't know how IA is cracking down, though, and Dewey's still employed. Still very much employed. Let's go to Sammy's storyline. Not too much going on with him. He's been missing from the neighborhood for a few weeks. There's no consequences, apparently, for him taking a guy out in the desert and trying to kill them. The neighborhood still trusts him to handle the situations. The pastor tries to say, I'm sorry about Nate. You can come here and talk if you want to. He says, I'm fine. He found $40,000 in the collection plate and thought it's a blessing from God.
Excuse me, bitch?
So he was called because apparently he's just, the force of the neighborhood now. Other black cop we saw earlier is like, yeah, this is the guy I call. But he did seem to have a rapport with him, at least. So he goes on the search for, well, it all leads back to this kid. It's like, these church ladies ain't no joke, which is factual. It was nice seeing that black dude get some more work. I want him to be more a part of the storyline. I think him and Sammy actually would make really good partners. So they get to the woman's house, and she immediately called her kid out. Was like, he bringing in dirty money up in this house, and yeah, you damn right I put it in the collection plate.
I will send you to Jesus.
But you didn't think that money belonged to someone and that your son might get popped for, giving it away? Because now gangsters are looking for it. We never even got a resolution on this because Tammy's heavily pregnant ass shows up talking about, I found you on a Find My Phone app.
What? What the fuck?
Bitch, we are not together. You are still living in my house with someone else. But I'm going to let that shit pass because apparently the baby's mine. So she did all of this. Well, she hasn't. The reason why is he hasn't returned her calls in a week. I would feel better if she showed up at the station. Because that would be worth it. Like, I'm carrying your baby. I need to talk to you. You're refusing to contact me. So now I'm showing up in person because there's something I need to discuss with you. And we could have done this over the phone, but you didn't call me back. This was about the baby, the room, because she knows it's going to be separate households. And he doesn't have a nursery yet. But he's trying to do the best thing he could do to be a father. So he ends up getting the paint and some other things and drops it off at the house in the end. That's where his focus is. There wasn't any drama. That was nice for once. But gosh dang it, the idea that I had to see Tammy. That's the same feeling though that you get when you see Dewey. You're just like, is this going to be terrible or is this going to be at least palatable? And that's where this whole story arc went, it was palatable. Lastly, let's talk about Ochoa and Lydia. I had forgotten, which was really great when I know I'm in a good episode, is I forgotten the beginning started off with a shootout with Lydia and Ochoa. And they show up at a crime scene with Mutt and Jeff, who have been tasked with leading up their own investigation for once, and them assisting to check out the witness names, however they to call to their own primary case. Loach, one of them, is a cousin to the police chief, so that it's clear that they get preferential or nepotism is involved. And that's why they can be shit detectives, and they're also men. And the women have to show up to make sure they cross their T's and dot their I's, but they have their own caseload, so they'll have to handle those 14 names on the witness list when they get there. He's like, she told me we had to do this. You better take it up with Fernandez. But Ochoa says, look, I had to get my kids. That's how I handle them. Like, I can't hold their hand all the time. I have to let them fuck up themselves and take it from there. They get to a crime scene in which the mother was rushed away, but she died on the way to the emergency room. She was hit in the head with a frying pan. The person responsible ran out the back door. The son was upstairs and potentially witnessed the whole thing. Or not witnessed, but did get a catch of the look at the man that ran out the back door. He says it was a black guy, but he keeps trying to leave the crime scene, which is unusual. But he is concerned about picking up his siblings. And she says, well, I'll let you answer my questions at the station, but your siblings and you are coming back and you'll be escorted by an officer. Question, how did Ochoa get past her? I guess she could have went out the back door. Because that was the whole time. I was like, how did she get over there? This was filmed separately. But she has the paramedic driver, or the woman riding the paramedic. She's like, yeah, the lady told me who did this to her. She said it was her husband. Husband who is supposed to be at work, was not at work, called off sick. The son clearly knows that it was his father that did it, but how do you even reconcile that, right? She feels a lot of empathy for Martin and his situation. She's firm. She lets him know, hey, this is what's gonna happen. They get back to the station. The father's there. He tries to leave once again, but they're like, we need to talk to you in the other room. Okay, if you want to do this in front of your children, we'll do this in front of your children. But it's sad, right? And they look like they're the bad guys when technically they have to put him under arrest because he did the murder. The son tries to intervene and he is subdued by an officer. Lydia sees the aftermath and she tries to comfort the one kid who's just scared, and Martin doesn't want to be comforted. Like, you tried to, you were trying to help us. This is not helping us. They go and they talk to the father, who's confronted with the evidence and immediately asks for a lawyer.
I'm going to jail!
Martin comes to Lydia and says, well, I want to take my siblings. What happens next? Well, it's going to be the next few days because he's got to get arraigned. And he's like, okay, I'm going to take my siblings to my aunt. Who's your aunt? And also, you can't just go off by yourself. He's like, well, it's not no big deal. He's like, you're a kid. You're not just going to go and take your siblings. But she knows where it's coming from. She knows this means they might be separated, or he does. Martin, poor kid. He has been through a lot. He has to know that his father did something, and he has to figure out where him and his siblings are going to be. But mostly he's concerned about them being split up. They go to the aunt's house because she says, I'll drive you. This is non-negotiable. He tries to say maybe he doesn't remember where she lives, but he eventually cops to, this is where she lives, but she probably won't take us in. She goes and speaks to him, and it turns out that she needs to think about it because she's very afraid of the father, which that's understandable. If you killed the mother, she's got her own family to worry about. So she says she'll think about it. Martin breaks down in the car. You see Ochoa just taking it in how good Lydia really is. She doesn't get frustrated. She understands completely. You're the victim in this just as much as the dead woman, and she's going to do everything she can to help. But, she has to have these difficult conversations, and she's able to have them with so much empathy and understanding. Then she goes back to the father and she just breaks it down to him. Like, look, your son is terrified. This will be easier if she says in the car, like, you have to tell me what your father did. And he says, yeah, it was him. So knowing that, she's like, look, your son's going to have to testify. Your kids are going to go into DFS. It's clear that you love your kids. But we know that she had problems and you had problems. This was clearly a domestic situation. What is best for your children? You need to do the right thing if you don't want them to be put through any more hell than they've already been put through. And he eventually realizes that she's right and that he does need to confess to avoid, because he says the same thing. Like, look, the place where they could go and be all together is your wife's sister, but she's terrified. And now your kids are going to be split up because of you. Like, this is all down to you. You got to take some ownership. And he ends up doing so. And while the kid doesn't look at her, Martin, thanking her for anything, Which I like that too. Realistically, everyone's not going to be like, oh, well, I know you're trying to help me. He probably knows it deep down somewhere, but he ain't close to at this moment wanting to confront those emotions. He's dealing with too many other emotions, which is a kid trying to keep his family together. Speaking of together, though, Lydia catches the eye of a P2 while she is doing target practice. She's listening to the P2s training someone else talking about failure drill. That's the body shots. Then he talks to them about the headshot. And they have a shoot off. And she's like, oh man, I'm not as good. She asks for some pointers. They exchange some looks.
I remember that time we were sipping on wine. I could see it in your eyes, you were feeling alive. Why I tell you I was good, why the fuck would I lie? Why? I remember saying twice, baby, I should.
And we don't think much of it other than she might be getting her some ass. Then she goes back to the office and she's like, what you doing here? Because you sitting in Ochoa's desk. She don't like people sitting in her desk. She just left. I like the line here where he was like, what, you gonna tell my mom? And he says, look, I want to go out with you. I want to have dinner, have a drink. She's like, I just caught 2 cases. Okay, let's do coffee and then we can talk about your cases. I don't do this all the time, girl. Trust me. This is not, I'm going out on a limb here. And she ends up accepting the date, tells Ochoa about it, who's all excited. And now you can't tell her anything else about this P2 because it's her son. Yes, that's what we learned, the big bombshell at the end of the episode. But they get to questioning one of the witnesses that had killed the 2. Oh yeah, they said the grandson had killed the grandparents. So I'm guessing this is where the son worked. How the fuck did you get an AK-47 in here, sir, is what I would like to know. But that is what he has, and he starts a shootout. This episode couldn't have been aired like this year, because we know we got a lot of people are very still coy, but I get it for mass shootings. This is a mass shooting at a work spot. And they go in, and people are running around, they're screaming. That one girl, I don't know why it bothered me when she was screaming coming down the steps. I'm like, girl, shut up. Don't let them know where you are. But I also don't know how I would react in this situation. I'd be shutting up, though. It's for effect for the movies. I know. But if someone were to scream, I can't take it against them. I'm just saying. That is not, I don't want people to know where I'm at when I'm hiding. So they're finally able to find the shooter after going through the building. There are several people definitely murdered. And while they get a nice clean shot at him, apparently, well, he's also shooting AK-47s at them. She gets Lydia, some of the employees, out the building. However, Ochoa is hit with some glass all over her face and she is injured. So she gets her out of the building. And I knew it was going to come full circle because he gave her that pointer, which is, you're grabbing onto the trigger. You need to just, like the academy, breathe, line up your shot, and squeeze. And that comes full circle as she has to deal alone with this gunman, the shooter, who's just looking to kill people in the building. She grabs Ochoa's phone, uses it as a distraction because he's so fucking out of his mind. He's just shooting at anything that looks. And then once she hears that he's no longer shooting, she steps out of the shadows and takes her 3 shots to the chest. He doesn't go down, so she pops him in the head with the kill shot, proving that Lydia is an absolute and utter gangsta.
I got that whoa, na, na, na.
Detectives usually don't get in shootouts, which is something when he showed up, like, you don't usually do stuff like this, Mom. What are you doing? She's like, blame Loach and other ones, sending us to their suspect's workplace where shit popped off. I like the scene in the hospital where she thanks her and they're playing poker with Skittles. That's adorable. She's like, you owe me a new phone. No, they owe you a new phone. Look how old that phone was. And that's when Rodrigo shows up and is like, Mom. And Lydia's like,
Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no. Hell to the no, no.
she's like, I'm gonna let y'all talk. I'm gonna go outside by the vending machine and contemplate my life choices. He joins her and it's like, you didn't know. No, that's why I was trying to fill you out. Well, you could have also just told me. He's like, look, we're adults, but she's your mom, but we're adults. And you stood me up on our date. Well, I was handling a shootout. That's not an excuse. It's like, okay, we can slum it if you ain't gonna go out to dinner with me, because mom is fine. We can totally go on a date. He was so about it. And he ends up chiming her with the vending machine, like, I'm gonna get you a soda, some salt, some sweet. And she was being, she knows she was trying to get some. And I don't blame you, girl. Shoot, go take that young man for a ride.
I need a gangster to love me better.
This younger man just sent me not a dick pic, but a what's happening in his drawers right now type of pic this morning. I was so out of the blue too, because we don't need to get the whole story, but I was like, and he is a little younger, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you know, when you want to drop by Ohio, I will be here. that's all I'm gonna tell you. I will be here, taking that for a ride. That's for damn sure. So on one hand, I'm like, she finally has a partnership where it looks like things are going great. They're getting along great. And now here comes this potential issue, because I can't see anyone. Plus, that's what you do with your partner. You talk about your love lives. How do you talk about that with your partner that is dating or could be potentially dating her son? I'm curious if if Shy thinks he's cute, because he alright, but the porn stash, I'm never a fan of the porn stash. I just you can have a goatee, but just a stash all by itself, I don't know about that. Not as attractive. But speaking of, that's the perfect segue into the feedback. So let's hop into the mailbag.
Mail, motherfucker!
Hey Christina, it's me, Shy. I am here to give my feedback for Southland episode 8 of season 3. And yes, it is episode 8. Before I give my feedback, I wanted to just follow up from your previous podcast. You had mentioned about the social worker. And to be honest, I didn't... I think I ranted about, or I don't want to say ranted, but had some things to say about the way social workers are depicted in this show before, so I felt like I didn't want to be redundant in saying that, because it's basically the same type of complaint. It's not really realistic how I mean, what you said is very true about being overworked, underpaid, understaffed. All that is very much a reality in the social worker field, but at the same time, and of course because of that, we don't, I wouldn't say we treat them like I don't know if you, I can only speak for myself. I'm sure there is some cynicism and all that stuff, and some that, start being desensitized. And I think, but that's a necessary, just like with cops and anybody else that deal with this type of work, to cops, firemen, you got to have a certain amount of detachment in order to be able to objectively do the job. Because if you're taking in all the, in this case, this kid was being molested, and all the kids are, there's some type of trauma going on for us to be involved in. So we have to be able to keep our heads, have a level head. And some, there's some I'm sure will take it too far and don't, and just see it a different way. But I will say, this person, he said 35 years. I didn't catch that, but that's so unrealistic that she's a case manager for 35 years. I'll say that much. Like, that is so not true. Anyways, there are just some other problematic things, but I just decided to let it, to just not, delve too much into it, because it could just be frustrating. I'm sure when your job or the type of career that you have, it coincides with something that's on TV, and they don't portray it accurately. You just kind of have to learn to just grin and bear it. I was like that. I'm like that with military movies or shows or stuff that depicts military. You just grin and bear it. So anyways, as for this one, there's not too much to say about this one. It was pretty cut and dry in regards to an episode. We got John. I already said what I said about John in the last one, and it's just frustrating to continue to see. I just feel like he's compromising them both. It kind of takes away from his character, because from the beginning, when he's teaching Ben and the importance of being there for your partner and making sure that it just seems like this situation is slowly, I still like John, but I'm just saying, just this episode alone just frustrated me, because it's like you're really putting your partner in a compromising position, and it just not to the extreme of Dewey and Chicky, but it just reminds me of that, because it's like, what if, he's like got them on these light calls or whatever, in order to keep from having to do too much. Instead of, like Ben said, why don't you just call out sick? Why would you? It's just not the type of job that you should be doing that with. And putting himself in danger, because he's compromised physically, and then of course he's irritable because of not getting any sleep, being in that much pain, giving them taking too many pills. And then he, just lost it on that old guy. That, it's like, oh my gosh, sir, you should not be driving. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. And the sad part is there are people like that on the road. We do car seat classes and stuff like that. And I personally found it like not funny that's an important thing, to be able to safely secure your baby in a car seat, and to have Ben doing that and he didn't know what the hell he was doing. That's ridiculous. And that doesn't look good on the department, and I'm sure someone should have complained to the department that this officer came in there and did a shitty class on car seats. Then we got, the uterus lady. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't. Like, okay, that's someone that should have had a psych eval. And then I'm like, Tammy, why? What the fuck? Why did she show up there? I can't with this character. I cannot stand this character. And this episode just put the explanation point of why I cannot stand this character. Like, why the hell would you show up to Sammy's? Well, he is not at the police department, not at home. He is at someone's house about to question them, and you show up talking about paint colors. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, I can't. If I'm gonna scream every time I see this woman on my screen. She makes the list. She's on the top of my list of characters I just can't stand. And there's a limited group, and she is in that group. I can't. That's all I gotta say. But so this episode really frustrated me for, like I said, for John's storyline, and then the stupid thing with Tammy, her showing up. I like Lydia and now I know Ochoa. I think you said her first name, and I don't remember it. I just know Ochoa. That was an interesting twist about that being her son. Now I'm like, should I have gone back and shouldn't he have had a nameplate? Did he say his name was Ochoa? I don't even remember. Does he have a different name? So it made me want to go back and check, because I'm like, dang, I missed that. Of course, I would have still not linked that to, but I might have been like, if I knew his last name was Ochoa, and then she goes to the thing and to her desk, and there he is at his mom's, come to find out his mom's desk. So I was like, I didn't know he didn't look that young. I mean, he looks younger, but I didn't think he was young enough to be her son. But then again, she could have had him really, really young. And my other thing is, a part of me is like, yeah, you go for it, Lydia. But then another part of me is like, that's awkward. And yeah, that's just really awkward. My partner's son, I don't know if I would not want to go there. That's just, no, not me. Then we got the failure drill, which came into play, which, of course, that wasn't, something that was too surprising, that Lydia ended up having to do the very thing that they talked about at the beginning when she was at the gun range. So that was, she applied what he told her into a live action situation. I think that's all I have to say about this episode. So on that note, until next time, much love, peace, and Black Girl Magic, Queen of the Couch, Shy.
Thank you, Queen Shy, with your thoughts on this episode. Did I give this episode a score? I don't think that I did. I gave it an 8.7 out of 10 in case anyone wants to know. I will say, I'm glad you confirmed that this shit actually goes down, because I've never shown up where a cop has shown me how to put my kid in a freaking car seat. Like, that happens at the hospital by the nurses and the staff. Showing you how to secure your child. So I'm glad to know that actually happens, because I was thinking the whole time, like, who takes this? Who does this? It's not just at the hospital. Who has a cop doing this and not a physician? Morales, that was his last name. It wasn't Ochoa. He introduced himself as Morales. She introduced herself as Lydia Adams. He knew who she was the entire time, but she did not know who he was. And the whole time he was trying to drop hints. He's like, I was trying to fill you out. Like, you didn't know, but I sure as hell do. And it didn't stop him. That's why he was just like, yeah, I gotta come in here. I'm old fashioned. You ain't old. Cause I gotta do this the right way. Cause I know I'm gotta come correct. Cause you're my partner. You're my mom's partner. Yeah, definitely awkward though. That's not gonna, I don't see car seats in their future. Cause he very much looks and like he's a fuckboy. And that's all well and good and fine to have fun with, but that's exactly, you don't want to be looking at your partner like, yeah, I'm using your son as my fuckboy. There's something else that you said and now I can't remember it, and now it's gonna bother me. Cause you were talking about Ben and John. I think I've agreed everything you have to say about that. Oh yeah, the Tammy thing. The one thing with you said about the Tammy thing. Okay, so I am totally with you on the, hey, if you needed to find him, like, I think maybe I'm more of, yeah, if I'm contacting you and I have this baby in my stomach and it belongs to you, yes, if you don't contact me and I need something, I might have to take the initiative to show up at the police station and have a word with you. Yes. So I don't mind that she tracked him down, or even that she tracked him down where he was clearly in the middle of his job. Stay in the fucking car until he's done. Wait until he's done. Like, I didn't have an issue all the way up until that point. Because then my beef is, don't ignore your baby mama. I don't care if you don't like her. You have a baby with her now, and you clearly wanted to be the father of that baby. So now you have to deal with her and all of her perks and all of the weird shit that she's dealing with. That's part of the deal. You can't just decide I'm not talking to you. Like, that's not okay. So while I do agree fully that she could have had more couth, at the same time, I'm not making homeboy exempt from that shit. You know what you got involved with. You know the type of person she is. So when you saw her third call, you should have say, let me handle this situation, because if I don't, she's gonna do something irrational. That's how I feel when these men be going on knocking up these crazy ass bitches, and I be looking at them like, well, you put your dick in a crazy ass bitch. Now she got your kid, which means she got you for the next 18 years. You need to learn how to handle that situation. So I don't put all of the ownership on the female for being a crazy bitch. You was who you was. And yes, I don't like you, but you also, you knew what you got yourself into. I think that's all I have to add for this episode. And you did say 8, and you said you were trying to say it was 9, but it was really 8. But no, girl, it was 9. This is the penultimate. I know it gets a little confusing with the 2-parters sometimes, and I think there was a 2-parter this season, but it is episode 9. If you want to send feedback once again for the next episode, blackgirlcouch@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment below on this podcast. My social media will be there as well. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until the next time, peace, hair grease, and black girl magic.